Biden holds Saudi Crown Prince accountable for journalist assassination in 2018. China told the US not to meddle with the Middle East, and Sarawak to construct Gedong Serian Highway. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and you're now watching TVS Nightline. Let us begin with our top story. U.S. President Joe Biden raised the assassination of an American journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, as his top agenda, discussed with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on grounds of human rights, though Mohammed denies any involvement. This visit is the first visit by a U.S. president over the past 2 decades since the 9/11 incident.
I know it's late, but thank you. For an American president to be silent on an issue of human rights, is this inconsistent with who we are and who I am? I'll always stand up for our values. He said he was not personally responsible for it, and he took action against those who were responsible. And then I went on to talk more about how that dealing with any opposition to or criticism of the Saudi administration in other countries was viewed as, to me, a violation of human rights.
The news spread fast to the ears of Khashoggi's widowed wife, Hanan Elatir, who explicitly told the president that the blood of Mohammed's next victim will be on Biden.
I'm sorry she feels that way. I was straightforward back then. I was straightforward today. This is a meeting, I didn't come here to meet with the Crown Prince. I came here to meet with the GCC and 9 nations to deal with the security and the needs of the free world, and particularly the United States, and not leave a vacuum here, which was happening as it has in other parts of the world.
Among other agendas, Biden's meeting with the Crown Prince has resulted in the reopening of Saudi's airspace to the public, while touching on other global issues, including the production of cleaner energy, ensuring global energy security, and a ceasefire at some of the Middle East conflict-stricken area.
And I'm doing all I can to increase the supply for the United States of America, which I expect to happen. The Saudis share that urgency, and based on our discussions today, I expect we'll see further steps in the coming weeks.
President, is Joe Manchin negotiating in good faith?
I didn't negotiate with Joe Manchin. I have no idea.
Now, U.S. authorities are being called out by the Chinese government as they believe the U.S. are attempting to transform the Middle East according to American standards. Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, said conflicts within the Middle East should be resolved by their own administrations, and the U.S. should focus on solving its own problems, including those that have made headlines globally, such as gun violence and abortion rights, among others. Calling for more cooperation, multilateralism, and lasting peace, Wang showed support to the people in the Middle East as they independently explore development paths, while supporting countries that are struggling with regional security issues through unity and self-improvement. The central focus of Middle Eastern issues involves the ongoing strife between Palestine and Israel. And China is willing to push the issue back to the top of the international agenda, as it has been marginalized by many of the international community. Indonesia's decision to temporarily suspend the entry of its workers into Malaysia would not have a major impact on Sarawak, at least not in sectors such as construction and plantation. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Joharitun Openg, said the policy currently only concerns Indonesian domestic workers.
Rasa saya mungkin terjejas, ia adalah dasar kerajaan Indonesia. Tapi saya difahamkan oleh Konsul Jeneral, masalah yang dibincang Sarawak tidak ada masalah. Tapi oleh sebabnya national policy, kita terjejas. Tapi daripada sudut masalah, kita ada masalah. Okay? Nya yang ting masalah more on the meat.
Abang Johari was met by reporters after attending the National Anti-Drugs Day 2022 commemoration and Sarawak state-level direct selling program in Gedong on Saturday. This week, the Indonesian government announced that it would temporarily halt the entry of Indonesian workers into the country due to allegation of a breach in terms of agreement on the recruitment and protection of domestic helpers signed by the two countries. Indonesian ambassador to Malaysia, Hermono, was reported as saying that the use of the Made Online system, MOS, by the Malaysian Immigration Department in the recruitment of Indonesian domestic helpers was deemed to be a violation of the agreement signed on April 1st. Hermono also said that an official letter had been sent to the Human Resources Minister, Dato' M. Saravanan, last Tuesday regarding its decision. At the same time, Abang Johari announced a new dual carriageway will be constructed to connect Gedong and Serian.
Sekarang ini di bawah pembangunan jangka panjang, kita akan membina jalan yang akan menghubungi menerusi Gedong, termasuk Semunjannya sejauh, jurus kepada Semarahal, Wagatuan, dan terus kepada dekat Sebuyur, Rumbus, terus ke jembatan Batan Rupa. Dan buat kajian kita akan laksanakan dalam masa 3 tahun tu. Saya ada jalan baru nampaknya yang lebih dekat ke Gedong dan ia akan dihubung dengan jalan yang ada.
The highway, according to the Premier, will be complemented with a transit point for the upcoming Autonomous Rapid Transit, ART, which is deemed as the future of public transportation in Sarawak.
Sebab ART kita, deadline kita sampai ke Serian. Okay. Dia ada end samahan di Kampung Humbus. Jadi there is a missing link between the two. Oleh sebab kita lihat daripada nyampun alignmentnya boleh nunjuk yang mungkin alang-alang mula. Jadi kita add one lane aja untuk ART. Kerana ART bukan kereta api, nya pakai tayar je.
Now, contractors who fail to perform up to standards will run the risk of getting terminated or being put on the state government's blacklist, warned Deputy Premier Datuk Seri Dr. Sim Koi Hian. Dr. Sim, who is also the State Minister of Public Health and Housing and Local Government, said the ministry is setting up a data sharing centre that will list all the poor performing contractors, thus barring them from taking on or winning contracts or projects from the state agencies and departments. According to Sim, the information will be shared internally to all Sarawak state agencies and departments to avoid them from hiring the blacklisted contractors. Dr. Sim said this after witnessing the oath-taking ceremony of Kuching South City Council MBKS Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Councillors today. The statement arose after MBKS Mayor Datuk Wee Hong Seng said 7 grass-cutting contractors had received complaints from the public and had been issued with warnings, adding that MBKS would give 3 warnings to the contractors before being terminated. Once terminated, the contractors would be blacklisted and would not be allowed to take part in the council's projects for a few years. Now, despite the transition to the endemic phase, the public has been advised to remain cautious and ever ready as emerging new COVID-19 variants are lurking. Thus, Deputy Minister of Public Health, Housing and Local Government Michael Tiang urged the public to adhere strictly to the COVID-19 Standard Operating Procedures SOP to avoid the risk of being infected by the virus.
I think it's still going on. We still have new variants coming to our show, so we still need to watch out, be careful, follow the SOP. Then we can save ourselves and save others. Of course, I want to express my gratitude to all the frontliners, including APA, which invited me here tonight. They have been at the front line serving to keep us safe. I want to say thank you to them.
On Friday, Malaysia's new COVID-19 infections breached the 5,000 mark with 5,230 new cases, the highest daily tally since April this year. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 68 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the state's cumulative total infections to 308,625. Now, recently, local agriculturists have been mired in financial struggles as prices of pesticides and fertilizers have gradually risen to unfavorable levels. The main cause of this is due to the shortages of raw materials to produce fertilizers, as manufacturers can only produce 8 to 10% to fulfill the needs of agriculturals in the state.
Pada ketika ini, masalah kita adalah harga baja dan racun adalah sangat tinggi, sampai mungkin 3 lipat ganda. Ini disebabkan kita mempunyai masalah dari segi mencari raw material, itu bahan mentah untuk membuat baja. Kita ada kilang baja, ada lebih kurang 5, tapi Sakra ada satu kilang baja dipanggil Sarawak Fertiliser. Itu pun dapat menampung hanya dalam 8-10% untuk digunakan kita. Jadi berarti kita perlu mencari cara lain supaya dapat menambah pakai.
Rundi spoke after the presentation of Minor Rural Project MRP check in Kemenang State Assembly in Bintulu on Friday, July 15th. The minister also said that part of the shortage issue is due to the ongoing geopolitical crisis between Russia and Ukraine.
Disebabkan keadaan di Ukraine, di benua Rusia ada masalah peperangan ketika ini, geopolitical problem. Jadi mereka tak dapat mengeluarkan bahan mentah. Kita sekarang sedang bergantung kepada Kanada, potassium, Kanada, Christmas Island dan juga di Ukraine. Satu daripada ini masalah. Sekarang kita sedang mencari bagaimana cara lain supaya kita dapat mengurangkan harga baja dan racun untuk kepentingan petani-petani kita yang secara kecil.
The state government has taken proactive steps to tackle the issues of food security. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom, he said that the issues will be thoroughly settled by 2030.
Pada setakat ini, kita tak ada masalah dari segi ayam, telur dan kinzir, babi lah, tak ada masalah. Masalah yang lain yang kita ada adalah macam lembu, hanya 14% saja. SSL, self-sufficiency level, yang kita dapat tampung orang kita sendiri, 14%. Padi, 38%.
He added that the state government will use the help of private agencies to enhance the production of dairy cows and meat in suitable areas.
So kita mengharapkan macam padi tahun 2030 nanti mesti ada mencapai 60%. Cuma kita mencari kaedah yang terbaik supaya padi ini dapat dikeluarkan mengikut perancangan kita. Begitu juga lembu, dairy, susu, sebagai daging dan sebagainya.
Coming up right after the break, Malaysia still committed in unraveling the truth behind MH17 downing, and Sri Lankan expects an economic new Prime Minister. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. This is TVS Nightline. Now, the Malaysian government remains steadfast in its commitment to pursue truth, justice and accountability for the downing of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 and urges all states and parties involved to cooperate fully with the proceedings in accordance with the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2166/2014. Marking the 8th anniversary of the downing of MH17, the Transport Ministry said the government remains committed to pursue independent, open and impartial criminal proceedings against the alleged perpetrators in the Dutch national prosecution. The Boeing 777 was en route from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur on July 17, 2014, when it was shot down in the eastern part of Ukraine, killing all 298 passengers and crew on board. The ministry reiterated its deepest sympathies and condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims of the downing of flight MH17, noting that it is imperative to pursue accountability to ensure that such tragic incident is never repeated. Now, the unemployment rate among youths aged between 15 and 14 nationwide has decreased to 5.3% from 5.9% in the same period last year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob also showed that the number of unemployment persons was cut down by 42,000 people during his speech at the launching of the 2022 National Youth Day in Tuaran. The Prime Minister also said that one of the ways to ensure the rates continue to drop is through the strategic cooperation between the Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries (MAFI) and the Department of Director General of Lands and Mines to create more job opportunities. He added that a total of 9,766 youth organizations nationwide had registered under Youth Societies and Youth Development Act 2007 so that they can play a role in the nation's future development. Adding further, he also announced an allocation of 1 million ringgit to the Malaysian Youth Council, and there will be an appointed senator to represent the youth in Dewan Negara. Malaysia's contact tracing app, My Sejahtera, now lets users access and monitor their health records in its latest update. The new feature also lets users view their health screening records and their children's vaccination records. In addition to displaying the digital health records and children's immunization details, KARI said in its future updates, the app would also be able to show blood donation records and act as a digital pink book that carries the mother and child's health records. The children's health records include the height, weight, body mass index (BMI), cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and blood pressure reading, including the child's next vaccine appointment date and time. My Sejahtera users can access all these new features after they update the app on their mobile phones. Now on to some sports update. Aliyah Yong Hanifah has proven yet again that she is worthy of the title as Malaysia's water ski queen when she clinched bronze at the 2022 World Games in the US on Friday, July 15th for the women's trick category. She will have another attempt at winning gold tomorrow morning during the finals of the women's jump category happening at the same venue in Alabama. Aliyah was dominated by skiers from Canada and the US, Lily Ross and Anna Gay respectively, where each of them collected 9,690 points and 9,190 points. Aliyah finished third with 7,960 points at just 18 years old. In her previous appearance in water ski tournaments, Aliyah has set 2 new Asian records, as well as 3 personal bests at the Fluid Summer Showdown in Polk City, Florida last month. At the same time, U.S. water skier Adam Picos won gold, while Danilo Filchenko from Ukraine won silver. Completing the top 3 for the men's category, winning bronze, is Frenchman Pierre Ballon. Welcome back to the Nightline. Now onto some global updates. Sri Lanka's parliament convened on Saturday to begin the process of electing a new president. This comes after former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation was accepted by parliament on Friday, having fled to Singapore to escape anti-government protests that occupied his official residence and offices.
ගරු මන්ත්‍රීවරුනි අතිගරු ජනාධිපති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහතා විසින් ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 38.1 ආ ව්‍යවස්ථා ප්‍රකාරව 2022 ජුලි 14 වන දින සිට බලපැවැත්වෙන පරිදි ජනාධිපති ධූරයෙන් ඉල්ලා අස්වී ඇති බැවින් ඒ පිළිබඳ නිවේදන 3ක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මහ ලේකම්වරයා විසින් දැන් මේ සභාවට ඉදිරිපත් කරනු ලැබේ.
Lawmakers are scheduled to elect a new president within a week, with six-time Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe sworn in as acting president until then. Wickremesinghe, who protesters demand to leave too, was elected as the ruling party's candidate for president on Friday, leading to the prospect of further unrest should he be elected. The opposition's presidential nominee is Sajith Premadasa, while the potential dark horse is senior ruling party lawmaker Dulas Alahap Peruma. Street protests over Sri Lanka's economic meltdown simmered for months before boiling over a week ago when thousands of protesters occupied government buildings in Colombo and blaming Rajapaksa's administration for soaring inflation, shortages of basic goods and corruption. Protesters are looking forward to a new Sri Lankan president, one that they hope to be well-versed in economics and able to bring the country out of crisis. According to the interim president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sri Lanka needs to restore law and order first before handling the issues of the economy.
The change in the political system was brought about by an anti-government protest during the worst economic crisis in Sri Lanka. The protesters breathed a sigh of relief with the current situation, but until a new president is elected, they said that the fight is not yet over.
Won the battle of sending Gotabaya Rajapaksa home, but our war was sending Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe. So we will win the final battle of sending Ranil Wickremesinghe, and we will win the entire war as well.
While one other protester said,
I need a new president, good economy knowledge guy we need, that's it.
the new president is expected to be elected on July 20th, while most people believe that the three main candidates will be the acting president Wickremesinghe, leader of the United National Party, Dulas Alahap Peruma, former cabinet minister of information and of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Party, and lastly, Sajith Premadasa, leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya Party.
On to our final story for tonight. The unprompted resignation by Italy's Prime Minister Mario Draghi has put many Italians in a state of confusion, even when his resignation was already rejected by President Sergio Mattarella. Though a political crisis is inevitable, some express their trust in the wisdom of both leaders to avert the collapse of their government.
Già il fatto che comunque Draghi sia stato bloccato da Mattarella nella sua azione è un buon segnale, dovuto chiaramente, nel senso che era d'obbligo che succedesse. Preoccupato fino a pagina 2 perché credo che comunque una soluzione si possa trovare.
Sì, preoccupato un pochino sicuramente, però insomma io confido nella saggezza di Draghi e degli uomini politici di Mattarella. Come mi preoccupano poi i 5 Stelle, però dai, io credo e spero che si risolva tutto, anche a breve. Ma deve essere assolutamente così, non possiamo andare alle elezioni adesso.
Draghi's resignation came after one of his party's coalitions, known as the Five Star Movement, failed to back him in a confidence vote over his plan to combat soaring prices of goods. Draghi met Mattarella after the vote, telling him that he would step down, but the latter told him to rethink and asked him to address Parliament to get a clearer picture of the political situation. The former premier is expected to appear in Parliament on July 20th. Italy's president may attempt to persuade Draghi to form a new government to find a new caretaker leader before the country faces its election due next year. An early election may also be possible. From selling cornflakes cookies to opening a haunted house, one local female entrepreneur is making a name for herself on TikTok. On Sejahtera Asia tomorrow, hosts Wan Alif and Alexen will be speaking to viral TikTok personality Norshila Idris at 7:45 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.
Keeping track of their emissions